This is Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
Welcome to the Real Pink Diaries, a podcast about the beautiful chaos of figuring it out as you go.
Hosted by three close friends, each episode creates a safe space for honest, unfiltered conversations about the in-between moments of adulthood.
From building businesses to setting boundaries, we're here for all of it. With humor, vulnerability, and heart. It's not always polished or perfect. It's the Real Pink Diaries.
Hello. Welcome to the Real Pink Diaries. Go, Amie.
The Real Pink Diaries. I don't have a voice, but I have a way of feeling about the space.
Welcome back, everyone. How are you guys feeling?
Excited for this one. I will say I put in a lot of work. We all did.
You guys
did. And the genius behind the idea was Missy. So thank you so much.
Well, it was
Missy, you come with the crazy ideas you come up. It's awesome.
I mean, Dolly was amazing. So let's say thank you to that. And now we have red flags and green flags. Whee! That's what flags sound like. And so Missy got us some giant ass red flags and green flags to use in this tiny studio. And we're going to be talking about clients today. Yeah. And the title is called Schitt's Client List, Flag It or Bag It. Mm-mm. And we're going to take the cast of Schitt's Creek and break it down into who we would work with, who we wouldn't work with, and the pros and cons of everything. So I'm going to read these amazing episode descriptions that we've created so we can get into it. But before we do, we should talk about what we're wearing.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Missy. You talk now.
Well, I would just like to say that this is a very somber moment where we're all just imbuing Moira Rose with the weird and the bebe of it all.
Basically, we're all in black and look like we're probably going to a funeral, but we are.
Promise we're not.
We're channeling Moira Rose.
Yes.
And I have a sparkly black number on with flowy pants. You have a black dress on with these
little flowers.
With these little flowers.
White flowers. Not trying to go to a funeral.
And you have a beautiful black dress on with these amazing sleeves.
Yeah, that is dry clean only. I wanted to wear stockings too because Moira is always like fabulous with the stockings, but I ran out of time. What I think is funny though, I sent out a text last night. I'm like, hey, as far as like what we wear, maybe like, imbue one of the characters with your outfit. And I thought for sure Amie was going to do Alexis because of flowy of it all. I thought for sure, Natalie, that you were going to show up kind of as the Johnny Rose of it all with like the tailored, beautiful.
I'm sorry, a lot of the stuff are in the skinny closet.
Girl, I feel you.
Yeah, I also have a skinny closet. I mean, I
now have because of you. I didn't even know I had it.
My boobs are not the same after breastfeeding, and all of my flowy, fun things that are Alexis do not fit the boobs. So, we all channeled Moira today.
Yeah, here we are.
When they both sent pictures of like they're wearing black, I'm like, well, last night before I went to sleep, I had picked out this dress. And I'm like, I'm not changing now. Even though I had like things that were Alexis-y or Johnny-y or like, I probably could have even done David if I wanted to, but all right. Can I read the synopsis? So just the cast overview.
Yeah, let's do that first before the episode description.
So Johnny Rose, so it's Schitt's Creek, okay? And this is how this Rose family ended up in the town of Schitt's Creek. Johnny Rose built a blockbuster-like empire, enjoyed a lavish life with his wife Moira and children. David and Alexis are his children. Then one day, come to find out, the business manager never filed taxes.
Uh-oh.
So the government took everything.
A big no.
And the only thing that didn't have any value that the government didn't, or that whoever didn't want, was this town that Johnny had bought his son David as a joke, called Schitt's Creek. And then, so they're like, okay, well, this might be your saving grace. You got to go there. You don't have a choice. So they go there, and their welcoming person was Roland Schitts, the namesake of the town, but also the mayor. Yeah. So those are the people that we're going to be examining. There's a lot of other fabulous characters in Schitt's Creek, and if you guys like this, we can go even deeper on it. We're happy to go deeper. But Amie, why don't you start us off with our first potential client?
Sure. Well, I want to read the episode description really quick. Yeah. It says, what if your next client walked into Café Tropical instead of your inbox? In this episode of The Real Pink Diaries, we're flagging clients like we're planning a family rose intervention. From Moira Rose's diva deadlines to Roland Schitts' boundary-busting chaos. We use the unforgettable cast of Schitt's Creek to break down the classic red flags you should avoid and green flags worth bagging. And I wrote this in the spirit of my personal angle in business, which is a design background, but it can apply to any entrepreneur, designer, or freelancer. It basically tells you how to spot the early warning signs to save you weeks of stress and scope creep. And it basically helps you give you a guide, essentially. Yeah. So let's get into it. So our first person. Okay, not everybody is a crazy, stressful client. Some of them are actual gems.
And that's starting with the easy ones.
Yeah. And that's where Johnny Rose comes in. The patriarch. Why could I could not remember that? I thought like male matriarch. No, that's not right. It's patriarch. So Johnny is the unicorn dream client. And I'm going to read this little fake scenario of our little project together. The Rose House project was a custom-designed residence commissioned by Johnny Rose, an entrepreneur seeking a functional yet expressive home that blended modern aesthetics with natural surroundings. Johnny's vision was clear from the start: a warm, contemporary space with clean lines, sustainable materials, and flexible interior zones that could adapt to both focused solo work and lively social gatherings.
Ooh.
Yeah, so let's hear some traits that he may have, Missy.
Oh, okay. So he treats the design team as true partners. Actively seeks your opinion, slips in dag jokes whenever it just feels right, or things to make things feel light. What do you guys say? Red flag or green flag?
Green flag! He definitely has mutual respect for your expertise, for sure. And then bringing in some fun little dad joke humor is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So one of the things about Johnny, like when we were talking about dressing up like him, is that he's very, very straight-laced. So he loves clean lines. He struggles with anything too quirky, asymmetrical, or offbeat. Red flag or green flag?
Red flag.
Let's do a red flag on these.
A red flag.
Yeah, he limits your creativity. And he's basically a perfectionist and has perfectionist tendencies. So he wants it a certain way.
Okay. Natalie, your client balances decisiveness with open-mindedness. He actually reads his emails and responds on time, makes decisions effectively with minimal drama.
Oh my gosh, green flag.
Green flag all the way!
That's amazing, especially in real estate. Well, I don't know if the same. I think real estate is a faster pace once their clock is ticking.
Yeah,
remember?
you got to get that deal, girl.
Deadlines, emails, we have to be on time. So yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anyone that actually does that very effectively, and all clients have like, oh, we're on vacation or whatever. So it's really nice to have someone that is so responsive.
Oh my gosh, that's a game changer. For sure.
Yeah, and even if they're
dream client.
And even if they are going to be on even if they're on vacation and you know that they're not emailing, they're not answering their emails for 2 weeks, but they let you know in advance. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah.
Or there's an away message. Have you ever had a client that had an away message?
I actually have not, so that sounds nice.
Okay, so Johnny and their family, like I said, they had this financial loss. So Johnny's got some trauma in his background when it comes to financial things. So when things start feeling a little too pricey, like you got the really fancy marble from Italy, he feels a little stressful. Red flag or green flag?
Red flag. You don't want a stressful client, and there's always solutions. Like you don't have to go with it, but you also don't have to stress with it. There's always solutions. So as long as you can prevent them from getting to a stress point, then I feel like it's, smooth sailing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a certain way.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this comes back to like managing expectations, right? So if you know Johnny has this like issue with money in the background, you're going to do your best to manage that, and then you're going to be really careful about how you deliver. Hey, guess what? The foundation is going to be $30,000 more expensive than you thought it was.
Or if you're given options of materials, you're given 3 options to choose from. Right?
Yeah, exactly. There's always options out there.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, Natalie, have you ever had that where things come in more expensive and you kind of have to like break, and you know that's going to be an issue with the client? How do you manage that?
Well, yes. And I feel like that's why you should always bring, like in the case of estimates, if they're looking for something that I'm helping them with estimates. So I try to bring them 3 estimates so they see the different, and I always ask them to do their due diligence, to call the person, see if they like to work with them, see what other, things they would like to know. But just presenting options, yes, that's a key.
So it is in some ways this is not really a red flag, because you, the professionals, that licensed professionals that you are, you're gonna know how to handle it. You just got to know your.
But it is the red flag to handle, to make it a green flag.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it was a red. Now it is a green.
I think one of the things with a lot of these red flags is you got to know, if you can come up with a plan on how to manage that, it helps out a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Johnny is confident in your abilities, the licensed professional, and trust the team. Trust your professionalism. Red flag or green flag, y'all?
100% green flag.
Green flag.
Honestly, it's sometimes you do have to try to convince and or communicate your value effectively for them to really understand this is not a good idea. Like I'm here to protect you and advocate for you for your end goal, which we discussed in the beginning. Trust me to get you there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like when you talk about deals or pricing or like which offer to put in and how low or how high, I'm sure you've had that experience of like, please trust me. I know how to negotiate.
Especially in both ends, like buyers wanting to come very, very low and sellers wanting to list very, very high.
Yeah. Getting them to meet in the middle.
How are we going to do this? And, as just you say, putting the information on the table, these are the things that could happen from my experience. This is what is going to happen. Let's not do that. Let's go this route. But it's up to them to then really hear your thoughts.
I do understand, like, it is confusing. When it's your first time doing a project or your first time buying a home or whatever it is. Like, even lawyers going through their lawyer things or, like, a doctor providing a procedure, they've done it time and time again. But it's the first time that, like, you're going in for an operation and someone's going to cut you open. Whatever it is. So it's, unnerving. And so you need that reassurance.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as they are open to your advice, I feel it will flow just fine.
Well, y'all were in that situation. The two of you had that dynamic. You purchased your first house.
Oh, yeah. And she had calm us. It was honestly the best and worst experience. Like, it was so stressful on our end because we were attached to certain homes. And I truly did not understand the process. And I was like, at what point do we have to give the money and how do we give the money? And is it now or later, or do we have to show proof of money? Like, I had no idea how this thing worked. I just know, like, you go in, you like a house, you say you like it, and your realtor does all the other work and tells you what to do. Yeah. So it was actually a pleasure working with you because you really did calm us down. You called us at night and just checked in. You were like, "How you doing?" Because you knew it's a nerve-wracking process.
Said, I don't know how you do this. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, it was like, we have it, we don't have it. We have it, we don't have it. And I was just like, I would never be able. I guess it's different when you're on the other side of it, right? And it's not the house you're purchasing. Yeah. But it was so stressful.
And I remember you were cooking, just a side note, pancakes at 9:00.
Yeah, we were. That's a Brian thing.
This is our dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Amie was.
That's how we celebrated. When we found out that we got the house, we cooked pancakes for dinner because that's a Brian thing. That's my husband's thing, is like, breakfast for dinner. And that's what we had that night.
No, you've never had breakfast for dinner?
Sometimes eggs, yes, at night. So I would say that, but not pancakes. Well, maybe I should try that.
It was fun.
Next time we record, like maybe we'll do this on Friday. We should go get like Waffle House or something for dinner.
No, I'm sorry, but Waffle House goes right through. That is not a thing that I can sit in a chair for a while. No. That's negatory.
Yeah, I like my oatmeal with I'm kind of crazy. Can I tell you?
Oatmeal?
Yeah, well, my
Waffle House?
For dinner?
No, I like for breakfast. I usually when my cholesterol was high, I ate oatmeal a lot.
You're trying to be responsible. Okay.
Yeah. So I had oatmeal, and then I put chia seeds and frozen fruit in it, and then I put egg whites too, which I don't know.
I don't know. That's an interesting mix.
It's delicious. I like it. If I eat that for breakfast, I'm not hungry until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's
kind
very
of
filling.
Yeah. So never leaves you waiting for a check. The potential client.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
I don't. I'm not
pays
even a
on
business owner.
time. Green flag.
Everyone's. I should probably be better at announcing which ones you guys are holding up. But yes, they said green flag, pays on time. We love that. Wild card factor. So a lot of times, I think I've seen this before. You know, I know people say like opposites attract. So you might have like someone that's a straight-laced. We're on page 4. Or a straight-laced, a straight-laced client that's fabulous, the dream. But then they got a Moira wife. Red flagger. So smooth sailing until Moira Camero derails the meeting. Suddenly, wallpaper selections feel like a Shakespearean play. Red flag or green flag, you guys?
Red flag. I've had dealing with couples where one has an opinion on a certain aesthetic and another has another opinion on a certain, and you have to marry them together. And there's always a solution, but like getting them just to be on the same page, or getting the call 2 days later, never mind, we went back to the original idea, we're not going to do that. Or I get the side, conversations of don't listen to her because I'm the one with the money, or whatever it is. It's just like, okay, that marriage isn't healthy. But anyway, it's just like you become this like back and forth ping pong moment of dealing with personality types, and you really have to gauge like who does have the final say, or waiting to do the work until you know 2 days later they're going to call you back. You know what I mean? Like,
who is the decision maker?
Yeah,
like,
it's reading
the hats here.
It's reading that room is
and
really,
also,
really hard.
You have to be very sensitive to deal with, because I experience the same thing in real estate. If they have different takes on opinion on which house they want to, like I had recently a couple that one wanted something that they could renovate fully to their taste, and the other partner wanted something that was ready to move in. New construction, we don't want to deal with none of that. I just ready to, I'm like, okay, well, that's completely different. What do we do here? So, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to kind of read your clients. If the one is, just in general, sometimes you got to say, okay, this person, got to make sure that both people in this deal are honored and respected, and that both everyone's opinions
and keep
are valued.
them both in the loop. Like you do group messages.
You have
you have to copy both, and
goodness.
just keep them both.
I didn't know that
happened.
I didn't know he okayed that. I'm like, even if it's a private message that comes in, I will text or email them both. Just so you know, I'm working on this per your blah blah blah, blah request. So it's just like argue amongst yourselves and come back, because like, it's a lot to deal with, a lot of personalities.
I thought on one of our previous emails or podcast, per your last blah blah blah, or per our last communication, I thought that was violent communication, Amie. How dare you?
Oh, how dare I? I'd rather let them fight than fight with me and not pay me for something that they did not authorize, quote unquote, because one did and one didn't. Like, no. No.
Well, y'all
writing.
Getting things in writing.
Well, y'all already answered one of our questions below was how do you balance the two, and you already got to that. But let's say, okay, we got another red flag or green flag scenario when it relates to Johnny. Sends referrals, sends thank you cards, and could easily become a repeat collaborator and your biggest advocate. Red flag or green flag?
Huge, big.
Yes.
That's that's a green flag 100%, honestly, because that's the goal, is to get that long-term client, right? Or to get someone who
repeat
can
a business, and especially they can, it's your reputation on the line, and when you do so, when they tell their friends and their family and people that know, and they just want to put your name out there, it's so amazing. Yeah. That's what you're looking for, right? We want to grow the business that way. And
at the end of the day, no matter what business you're in, it's about building a relationship. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, this deal didn't go through, but they will call me for the next whatever they need, right? So you always want to maintain the relationship over the deal, in a sense, because that's the true value.
And you want them to be happy after the deal, the transaction is done. And that's what I always is my end goal. I want them be extremely happy with what they did, with the investment, with the real estate, and therefore they're going to tell about you to other people because you're happy with their transaction and how it went.
So the takeaways, Johnny Rose is the unicorn client, professional, polished, and a long-term ally worth prioritizing. By show.
So if you have a long-term client like that and then he is worth prioritizing, how do you over time make sure that you constantly deliver for this person?
It doesn't necessarily have to be deliver. It's more like keep in contact with, check in. How are you doing? It becomes more of, I didn't just use you for a deal, but again, building that relationship. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe I'm not understanding the question, but like that's how I view it is like, I had a client that we recently had babies at the same time. Like she went first, but but I recently, and so we met at the dog park, and I'll continue to call her, be like, how's it going? How's the whole babysitter situation? It's tough out there, like just finding your people. So I don't know. It's you know, at the end of the day, there are certain clients that really you want to keep in contact with.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. That you know, consistency is just being in touch with them, and you genuinely want to know how they're doing, how is the house in my situation, right? In my industry, how is the family? Are you enjoying the house? Have you made any changes? I love to see pictures. Let's go have lunch. Like, you know, you want to be in touch with them, but you want to know about them
it's like
too.
It's like, not just for business. Like, I actually enjoy her company.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and you can take that out from just the personal standpoint. You know, like I think. I try to, I probably spend too much time on social media, and Tung, he's been doing this sketching thing. So I finally messaged him like, hey, this is awesome that you're doing this. I literally said, I'm going to put a calendar invite. And I gave him a phone call like 3 days later because I'm insane. And I sent him a calendar invite. But I think, you know, if someone is doing something, you know, make sure to follow up with them, congratulate them and, you know, make sure that, you know, because I mean, in Tung, oh my God, he's amazing. He's
an amazing artist and business mind. Like he knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, it is that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure you stay in touch with people. And that I think what this question was, how do you keep the experience consistent over time? And I think if you kind of just show up as the same person every time and don't be fake and don't be a different version of yourself, you're going to have the same experience over time. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is I know y'all have had different experiences with this, but like, you know, like if you got something going on, you know, like say like, hey, I got this going on, and it kind of explain why you're not showing up the way you have been or this or that. And most of the people, especially that you had a relationship, they'll provide you with that grace. So let's move on to the next.
The next segment, which is not everybody is a dream client. So this is more of the, you know, high maintenance type of clients, more red flags in this little scenario. But we're going to go to Moira Rose, the drama queen. So designing a town theater with Moira means preparing for sudden drama. She's full of grand theatrical vision, but light on practical follow-through. Just when you think you've finalized plans, she gets a last-minute role in The Crows Have Eyes 3, The Crowaning, and disappears, leaving you to wrangle details while she delivers monologues about artistic legacy. And she is always in Europe during project deadlines. I've actually had that. That was a real situation.
What's up?
So she did her like the one episode like like her arms up. That was great.
That was really
okay.
Funny.
So says yes to the. Okay, so this is our first scenario: red flag or green flag. Says yes to the design plan, then ghosts you for a week and returns with an entirely new vision. Sends 3 emails at 3 a.m. titled "Urgent Creative Rebirth." Red flag or green flag?
Red
flag. Oh my goodness.
What do you guys do? What do y'all do?
Have you had that happen?
I've had emails at 3 a.m. I've had those.
Oh my gosh.
And obviously I'm not responding to that, obviously. And the weird thing is I was working at that time. But I try to, you know, if I'm sending an email, I schedule it. Even if I am writing it at 3 a.m., you schedule that.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I have definitely had people not commit and or say in the beginning when they're trying to get the contract, oh, I want to reduce the price, whatever. And then they'll say, I only need this many options. And then they'll go option on option on option. And you have to stick to it's a whole thing. So I would say The people who just ghost, I did have someone who ghosted when they were in Europe, they were in France, and they sort of texted, but I've had the opposite, where I have this client right now, actually, they're amazing. I love them to death, and they're trying to get things moving. And we're building a house that had burnt down. It's a long story. But they were literally in the middle of the ocean on a cruise, and we had a Zoom meeting. So I was like, that is commitment. It was amazing. I was like, I don't even know how to do that.
Well, first you pay for the internet package. That's the first step.
But it was pretty cool, actually. I was like, oh my God, we're getting so much done right now. This is amazing.
That's good.
So Natalie, have you ever had that 3 a.m. email?
No, but I've had emails, very late. Emails more than emails, text messages, and more than text messages, calls at 9 p.m. Sometimes, I've learned how to set boundaries. Something I've learned, but at the beginning, sometimes it really depends. Like if you're in the middle of negotiations, and I'm taking calls to whatever, like midnight if I have to. Yeah, I've been apt into like maybe it's close to midnight, waiting for a response, and it was a contract, a deadline, so was the deadline. So sometimes you have to do it because it's part of the deal, the negotiation. But if it's not something urgent it's not time sensitive, then there's no reason why. But
yeah,
I've had those.
We've had a 9:45 call together when you were helping me out, and I was just like, it was
That's
just
part of what I do.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, I guess we need to have this call because you need to get whatever paperwork from us. So yeah.
Well, I think it just depends on the circumstances.
Yeah,
and
if it's appropriate or not.
Yeah, but you might be under the deadline. I think this is where like kind of the difference between the two professions kind of is probably, because if someone makes a last minute change with the design, you just don't have time to do it. You don't have time to implement it. Whereas it's going back and forth in negotiation. It's a conversation.
And it's time sensitive.
Yeah. But so Amie, if someone does make a last minute change, what do you do? How do you communicate? Like, hey, we can't get this done right now, or we can't.
Oh no, I'm happy to provide this change for you. However, this means that the timeline that we have is going to be shifted, and or this is an additional cost because this is additional scope of work that wasn't anticipated in the original contract. Like blah blah blah. But I say it a lot nicer than that. That was a very matter of fact. I peppered in with sweetness. But like that's the gist of it.
Yeah. In your industry, there is a lot of responsibility on your end. Like you have to keep them in line a lot, right? Because
it's a lot. Because it's
design.
With design, it's also a passion. Like I love what I do.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to do another design, but then I'm like, wait, am I going to get paid for it? Like I have to like put on that business hat and be like, stop being a designer, put on that business hat and say, we need to eat. So yeah, for real, it's a thing.
And it's not very defined.
Yeah,
it's not very defined for someone. For you, it is because you know what it takes to make changes, the domino effect of anything. Yeah. But from a client's perspective, they just see, I want these. Like, it's just
moving a wall, and I'm like, no, it's moving the electrical, it's moving this, it's moving that, it's changing this part. So there is a domino effect on my end. But it gets to a point where like I'm not like a stickler. Like if it's just a quick thing, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna be like, no, price change, or whatever. Yeah. Like if it makes sense and there's mutual respect between the relationship, that's different than asking for the moon or asking for a very giant change when I've communicated any changes past this point is going to be an additional, like I've already set it in stone. They have to sign and date something stating they understand. Like it's a whole thing to make sure that the communication is open. So when things do arise, it's like, remember when you signed that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So Moira, new scenario, brings bold theatrical ideas to elevate the project from good to unforgettable.
100%. Green flag.
See, I'm waving red.
Oh, tell me more.
Tell me.
I think it's just like anything. It could be a green or a red flag. You gotta make sure you communicate with a client what getting from good to unforgettable implies, like what you were saying before, because if they come in with the amazing idea and you both agree this is the way to go, but they have to understand the implications of that. So that's how just as long as you can, as long as they know that, you know, good from good to unforgettable costs more money.
Yeah, no, you do have to communicate the impacts of it, but also in my industry, at least, it's a collaborative experience. So having someone bring in ideas strengthens what I do in general. It is a back and forth, and I appreciate. I mean, I'll let them know, like, this will not work, or, you know, whatever it is, or, like, slowly hint that this is a bad idea in a nice, gentle way. Like, this, you can do that, but... You know?
Everybody likes to contribute to something, right?
Yeah.
Contribution, collaboration, and I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the client is someplace else. This is the time zone Houdini effect. Frequently abroad for inspiration, and they don't take you. I mean, obviously they should take you. I remember what was it where when we went to the Biltmore, the landscape architect, and I believe the architect traveled to Europe to garner inspiration and buy objects. Do I have that right?
I think you might be right about that, actually. I don't remember exactly, but that sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
that they did. I don't know if it was Europe, but they definitely traveled somewhere to go and get inspiration. I think it might have been Europe.
I might also be confusing that with maybe a story from Vizcaya, maybe that landscape architect.
Anyway, people do that, but none of my clients have taken me on trips. So, you know, anyone out there, I'm willing to go.
Yeah, from good to great means taking your client to Europe with you.
But it's different when it's like you need an answer and they're just ghosting, and it's like, okay, I don't know, like politely writing an email, because this is a deadline, I need to know this, otherwise this will happen, you know, like extending the contract timeline or whatever. It's definitely frustrating when you think you're going to either close something out and get a check and you can move on to the next project. It's just like random thing lingering over your head of like, I need to address this. I don't know what my schedule will be like in 2 weeks to even address it. So it really throws you off.
Yeah. So back to the full reading of this. Red flag that the client doesn't take you to Europe. I'm joking.
I mean, red flag.
Frequently abroad for inspiration during key deadlines. Never clear which continent she's on.
Yeah, that's what we just talked about.
Yeah. Okay. Another scenario: speaks passionately and articulately when discussing creative direction. Wins support from skeptical stakeholders. So let me give some more context from this. You know, I think Moira, did she run for city council against Jocelyn? Do I have that right?
No, I don't remember that one.
But anyways, Moira had a way of rallying the town, or rallying the people around her to make things happen. Red flag or green flag, y'all? Red flag or green flag?
I mean, it's a green flag for sure. Like, to get allies on your side with whatever you're doing. For me, I have to go through like board reviews and get everybody to sometimes vote on approvals. So to get someone that's very like charismatic to win over them, a lot of it is, you know, personal perspective. And I mean, it doesn't always, there's code and like things you have to adhere to, but at the end of the day, when you have either a neighbor sometimes will be like, you're building too high next to me and causing a shadow on my building and da-da-da-da. And there are height limits, but within the limits, this is allowed. And so to find someone that can calm that neighbor down so they don't cause a ruckus is also important, and or have them try to stop the project. You know, it can happen.
And strategically.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything to add or do you?
No.
Okay. Dismisses a new scenario. Dismisses your professional advice with obscure references, quoting a 1974 Vogue article as gospel. I was trying to do that accent. It just did not work. I can do baby right. Bebe.
Red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Especially when they're undermining your expertise. Like, it's good to bring ideas, but to completely say like, no, this won't work, or just block something that is already working and we already decided we're going to go with because she saw something in a magazine and was like, I want to change it. Whatever it is, it definitely throws a wrench in the trust aspect of that relationship.
To me, is usually that happens something similar during the inspection period.
Oh God, that was a big breath.
Or even after, like they throw things at you. I'm like, we should have. If I would have known during inspection, this could be negotiated. But now it's too late. we have to really move forward. So yeah.
So wait, explain that. I'm just curious. On your industry.
So when they, if they come with unexpected things or they dismiss your advice on something, and in real estate there is a negotiation part aspect of it. Then you are on a contract. You have to follow deadlines. There's time sensitive things, and then you have the inspection period. There is another opportunity to bring on negotiations. If there is a repairs that need to be done, or there's some still like things that need to be addressed by the seller and the buyer.
Okay.
So when unexpected things come from them after that period, that the negotiations really, the contract is hard. It's like.
So it's like you have a period to bring up all the inspection type problems that you have.
Any other things, or if they bring up anything that they want to negotiate after, I'm like, it's too late when depending on the time.
Okay, so it's the time sensitive, bringing up problem questions. Yeah. Okay, got it.
If the project so new things. If the project actually gets finished, it will be iconic, high profile, and impossible to forget. Red flag or green flag?
I say green flag. Yay. I mean, you always want the projects that'll, have more bigger ripple effect than you can give it. So if it gets published in a magazine,
yes,
it gets more eyes on it. It gets more possibility to bring in that, clientele and bring in the income. So, something that's beautiful, you can't beat that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think with Moira, she's iconic. She is such an idea person. It's amazing. And she's good at rallying the people around her. But at the same time, there are some deficiencies with that. So just, can you identify it? Hey, Amie, do you mind if we do some of these questions before we do the takeaway?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, have you guys ever, so with the Moira client, I don't think it's necessarily a make or break. It's just, can you handle it, So have you ever had a Moira type client and you've ever had to say, no, this is a little too much for me, or, I'm not the best fit for this, so-and-so I think would be a better fit for you? Or have you ever got into this situation and then like, whoa, I missed these warning signs?
Oh, yeah. Especially when I first started out, because I was hungry, I was taking anything that walked through the door, and there was a really big flag, that I completely missed. And that was in our first meeting. She said, I can't find, and this is, she basically said, I can't find a decent contractor. I've had 3. That's a huge red flag. Why have you had 3 contractors that for some reason walked away from the project? Yeah. And she did this whole song and dance of they took advantage of me and took my money and ran away, which does happen in my industry, but it's very rare for it to happen 3 times. So, and she turned into, it was a tiny project too, but she thought it was like the Taj Mahal and wanted things done now. And she was gaslighting me to the point where, okay, this is the worst client I've ever had. To the point where I had to seek advice from other professionals because I was just starting out. So I had a lot of mentors, and I tried to thought the professional thing to do was just to hold on and continue helping and trying to, but it got to a point where she would have me on the phone for 3 hours talking about various things. And I now have in my contract as a result of that trauma, set hours of timelines for how long you can be on the phone with me for meetings and stuff. But yeah, I talked to my my mentors, and they were like, you can fire clients. And I was like, what? Did not cross my mind as a thing I could do, is to be like, you know what? I don't think we're aligned anymore. I think it would be better if we just, parted ways, for you and I. Here is all we've done up till now, and goodbye,
Yeah. Natalie, have you ever had a really weird mid-project request? What was the...
I've had, some red flags that I've learned how to read with time. The same as you. As you start in the business, you just take everything and anything because you want that. But then you start, I feel like as a general rule for me, when it gets really hard for you to prove your value to that specific client, or you're trying to constantly diminish your value or just get a discounted rate, and it's all that matters for them. And when they talk also like she said, oh, I can't find a decent contractor. Look, if they told like that about other brokers or agents, those are red flags now that I listen to. I'm like, in general, if I leave the meeting, the call, and I feel drained and like
So
my
true.
energy is like gone, and I always listen to my inner voice. If it's not a good fit, I'm like, if you feel that something is not right, it might not be right.
Yeah, listen to that intuition.
Yeah.
Do y'all ever listen to Wayne Dyer? In writing the chicken episode, which is upcoming, I was listening to some of his stuff, and he said he asked someone that he knew, like, oh, I'm thinking about moving to this place, and what are the people like there? And he goes, well, what are the people like where you come from? And they were like, oh, they're so rude, they're this, they're that. Like, and then I'm like, and he's like, people are exactly the same here. And then he ran into another person, and the person's like, oh, I'm moving from the Midwest to, wherever he is. And what are the people like there? And he said, well, what are the people like in the Midwest? They're so kind. There's this and that. It's like people are just the same here. So I think that was talking about like manifestation and like what you expect to bring about. But at the same time, if people have a hard time a lot with the people around them, and they're telling you that.
Yeah.
So I think, Amie, what's the takeaway from Moira?
Takeaway is it's really important to vet for alignment, to make sure that you are on the same page and you will work well together. So she's more of like the passion project client, but she's also like a nightmare for deadlines. So you have to decide whether you have the patience for that type of client. Yeah. So, that was a lot. Okay, next sort of red flag client is Roland Schitts, the wild card. So here we go. Designing for Roland is like building a shed in a tornado. Loud, messy, and somehow involving chili at every meeting. He shows up late with a half-eaten sub, calls your renderings fancy cartoons, and insists on being involved only to derail the agenda with a porta potty story. So, he's kind of a hot mess. All right, so you go, miss. What scenarios have we created?
Okay, this first scenario pops in with his cousin Earl's brilliant ideas, casually suggests skipping or maybe overlooking some codes.
Red flag. Oh my God. When they get like that bird in their ear about, oh, what if you did it this way? It'll be cheaper and faster and more cost effective, whatever it is. But then it's like a violation to how you need to build things. And it will never get passed when you have an inspection or someone to approve what you built. Basically, it's like, oh my God, I have to explain why this is a bad idea and spend my time explaining why what I did originally was the right way to go. Like, it's just a headache.
Yeah, I think similar to my situations being a client where she needed to ask the entire set of friends and family, everybody, every single thing before making a decision, and she will change her mind constantly. And it was really, really hard to keep things in line. So,
wow, that sounds like a nightmare.
It's like having someone in the ear all the time saying different things.
Oh my God.
I think I might be that person. I think I might be that client, because I went back and forth like, I don't know, should I go there?
Do you want to tell the story?
I don't know.
We'll make a decision.
It's kind of crazy. It was a crazy idea. We had a city council member in my city step down. So I was like, I could do the job. And it's not even a full term. It's only partial term. So I'm like, if I could do that. I'm good at doing that. I'm good at like seeing both sides, and I'm good at like talking to people and finding out what the majority of people will want and to represent that.
So did you go through with it though?
I thought about it, and then I was like, this is not the right time for me, because
you have other priorities.
Yeah, I need to get my license. I need to get other stuff together. There's also like financial disclosures and stuff you have to go through with that.
Yeah. You have to like put a lot on the line for like public know-how or public people knowing what your business essentially.
Yeah, and I could have done if I had wanted to, I think I could have done a good job at it. I was mostly concerned because I kept on checking the city website and there was no one signing up for it, and I was afraid that there wouldn't be someone, but turns out there's some great candidates that are running now, and honestly, they're way more qualified.
So it
than
worked
I am.
out.
Yeah,
It worked out at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, okay, next scenario. But I did ask everyone around me, and everyone was like, no.
Unanimous decision. That's different than having other people say different things. Yeah, that's
And that also wasn't like a personal decision. That was like, should I do this thing that is public service? Because that would, and one of the things I thought about was I would have had to have a conversation with y'all to see if that would have affected this. So that might have been an appropriate time to not be confident in making one's decision. Okay, next red flag. Once he's in, he'll defend your fees and maybe name a sandwich after you. Red flag or green flag?
It's a green flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, he's loyal. He's like fiercely loyal. So where he'll just defend you against others and or whoever needs to.
It is so much appreciated.
Yeah, it's
loyal clients.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dream clients.
All right, what's the next one?
Any agenda can end in a porta potty story.
Yeah, basically tangents, right? Like you go into a meeting and they're just talking about their life and all this, and you're just like, just sign the paper. It's like I do love that relationship, like building that relationship, hearing about your family. But there's a boundary at a certain point where it's like, okay, I have to like go home. Like we need to wrap this up at a certain point. So yeah, there's definitely a boundary with like creating that friendship. While also like making sure we're still doing the business tasks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Knows the town quirks and where to find the best pie.
Having local insight.
Connections.
Yes.
Connections. Green flag, just in case no one knew that.
Green flag.
I mean, someone who can get you in to talk to someone that you really wouldn't have, who has the authority to speed up the process.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, and just knowing who to call. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, connections are great.
Because sometimes it's so hard to just call the whoever, what administration, and then you jurisdiction, and they just get bounced around. You never really know. That's true. Pushes for you to cut fees, have faster timelines, and just one more revision.
Oh my God. It's like almost every client. Red flag.
And the funny thing is, like I'm sure because when I was in an architectural world, an engineer, you always get clients that no, this is what we know what we want. This is it. This is what we want. We're not gonna make changes.
Oh yeah.
I never ever had
that experience
that no changes were done after you pass, the phase to make changes. Mm-hmm. It's never happened. It's never the case. Even me building a house,
oh my God. Yeah, you did it to yourself.
Like design, it's just it. There, and this is something, and I think we're pretty good about it. Like, I'm pretty quick making decisions, but also amazing. I say, this is what I like. I like this. I'm happy with this, and I move on. Because if you keep looking, there's always a way to make it better. There's always a way to make it better. But yeah, it's fun.
For me, this is my biggest pain point in my industry. At least is like I have never experienced that. Oh, we know exactly what we want. I literally hand it to them on a silver platter. This is what your idea turns out to be in the space that's allowed. And they're like, well, this doesn't work for our family lifestyle or whatever. And I'm like, okay, then what will? Let me hear. Let me take that feedback. And also, our contract is null and void because you said one option. So it's like, let's talk about that too. Yeah.
I also think from what I've seen that it's okay to negotiate a price, but there's a line, right? I mean, your job is negotiation is a huge, but there's a line, right? And I don't know, it's different in everything, but there's a line where it goes, oh, that's a little too much, that doesn't feel good, or I'll negotiate a little bit. It's fair.
Line and timing, a cadence for negotiation too. Yeah.
Okay, somehow turns crisis into slapstick snack breaks.
I mean, relieving tension is good. Being a crazy person is not. So there has to be a balance. Like, if there is someone that does have humor, it is nice to have someone that does relieve that tension, for sure.
Red flag or green flag?
Oh, sorry.
We didn't answer that.
Green flag. Sorry, I got too excited.
All right, I'm going to get some real quick questions in here. What's your strategy for dealing with a Roland-like character? Because he's kind of like all over the place and off the cuff, and you got to document stuff. So how do you communicate?
Well, I do it with excitement. and I want to meet their needs. Like, I'm like, I know that we might have to do an extra thing that isn't in our contract. Maybe I'll throw one in, but if it keeps going and going, and it gets to a point where we're on the third revision of this idea or a third design from that idea, it's like I actually had this conversation recently that I had to talk to a client about, like, you know, additional fees, because I went well beyond where my contract was, just because I wanted to have a good reputation in terms of a relationship with this client. They're important to me. So I extended myself a little too far, essentially. So sometimes I'm not the best at setting boundaries for myself, but yeah, you have to have those hard conversations, and you can't shy away from them when it is your business. It's not all fun and games. You have to kind of, you know, put it to them that I am valuable. If you want these additional things, I'm happy. Yeah, but I'm happy to provide the thing that you want. This is your dream home. This is what you're spending a lot of money on. I want to get it right, but that means that we also are in additional services at this point.
Do you ever like kind of identify these kind of like people in advance? Like, okay, I know what it's going to be like working with them. I know they're going to need additional revision, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the contract in the beginning.
I already have that in the price point. So I already know that, oh, this one option, whatever, I already know that that's not real. That's in their head real, but so I already reflect that in the price, because I already know where it's going. I've been down that road so many times that's why I do those extra options, because I've already built it into the price in anticipation.
What if people only do verbal agreements, Natalie? How do you make sure you document everything?
Well, you have to document everything. Everything is in writing, clear communication with all the party. And if you're representing the seller or the buyer, obviously if you're in the buyer side, you're trying to, both sides, you're trying to negotiate for that party, you know, that is a huge part. So just trying to keep the communication very clear. And when you're negotiating your commission, in our case it's different, because you have to meet certain deadlines, and it's a different payment structure for us until closing. And that's what in my contracts, it's usually until closing we don't get paid. And then for me, it's a red flag if you have to negotiate too hard, if they're trying to discount, because it's going to be the same with everything else moving forward.
It's just going to be a stressful, even if it's in design.
Unrealistic way to,
It's like, even in the thing that you like most about your job, it becomes stressful, because they keep, for real. I'm having that experience right now. I should have listened to my inner voice.
Yeah. So I want to ask one more question, but I do think that we're getting to the point where we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
Can I go there, or do you want to do it?
Well, I do want to say one thing. So Roland is fiercely loyal. He does have scope creep. He's like, he wants the Taj Mahal on a dollar store budget. But I think he, at the end of the day, would be someone I would take on, because through any client, it is a process of educating them. And once he understands it, he's going to take your side. So I think it's important to acknowledge that, like, even small projects are worth gold sometimes, because you can pop them in, pop them out, and you move on and you keep the payroll going. So I think, and you never know where that client will talk to someone and say what their experience was, and it could be a bigger project. So don't discount the little projects, for real. But I do want to say there is a part 2 before you get into it, to talk about the maybe clients. So we went to Johnny Rose, the golden client, and now we went to more of the red flag clients, and there is like the in-between. So we'll get to that in our next.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we're getting into the kids. So thank you all. Thank you so much for listening.
You can.
What was the question you had? Sorry.
It was that one. Yeah, the question was the how do you turn someone that's kind of kind of maybe all over the place, maybe have different difficulties about them into and identify, okay, I want to keep this person around.
Yeah. And you educate them, and you're just honest with them. At the end of the day, that's how you have to propose it. Is like, you can be mad at the situation, but I'm here to advocate for you and your needs. And this is the situation. And I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm not doing whatever. I'm telling you what's going to happen or what it is, to make sure you get all your dream list items.
Yeah. And I like for me, I feel like maybe I'm the incompetent client, but I know sometimes I'm not the easiest to work with. So if people have learned me, or if I've learned them, and we're fire in on all whatever's, like I will stay.
Yeah.
But, you know, like
Loyal.
we are good.
Yes.
So all right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again for saying
Thank you for watching. We
Yeah.
are the best way to connect with us is Instagram. We have all the links there, and we can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye, guys.
bye.
The Real Pink Diaries.
Thank you for listening. We had so much fun, and we'll look forward to spending time with you in the next episode.
Please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Real Pink Diaries. You can also find us on YouTube. Check out our show notes for additional ways to connect with us.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.